types of angles. You probably have seen this before, correct? Names of angles. So you have a straight angle. A straight angle is 180. An obtuse angle, it has to be between 90 and 180, but it can't be exactly because then it would be a right and a straight. Acute has to be less than 90, and right angle is exactly 90. Okay, so I remember acute because I think, oh, little and cute. That's how I remember acute. Obtuse, right or wrong, I think of obese, and that's fat, so fat angle. I don't know, and I just, for some reason, I can remember right and straight. Okay, so those are your 4 different angles. All right, so real quick, what I want you to do, just to make sure you understand, is classify each as acute, right, obtuse, or straight. Feel free to draw lines. Right, obtuse. What do you think that next one is? Acute. This one right here. Yeah, this should be acute. This would be smaller than 90 degrees. That would be acute. All right, this one right here would be obtuse. Now, this one I think is really hard to tell. This one's obviously straight. So if you get something that's really close, you can never assume in geometry that something is 90 degrees exactly unless it has the little box in it. You know what I'm talking about? This little box right here. That's the only way you can tell for certain. So sometimes if I'm not sure, I'll take like the corner of a paper, and you see how it just looks barely, just slightly inside, which would make it acute. Okay, do you guys feel comfortable with that vocabulary? Because I went over it pretty quick. Cool. All right. Moving on then. Okay. So you can classify angles as right, acute, obtuse, or straight. Which type of angle is not represented in this diagram? Which is the only one? Hassan. There is not a right angle. So the next thing I want to talk about here on this slide is how to name angles, because this is going to come up over and over again in this chapter. Okay, so if I want to name, say, this angle right here, okay, I use the angle sign, it looks like that, and then I'm going to start with A, O, B. Okay, so I'm going to go from this to this to this. I can also call this angle B, O, A. What do you notice about both ways that I named that? The O is always in the middle. Why is the O in the middle? It's the corner. So it's the corner. So you would know what that vocabulary word is. Vertex. Okay. So this right here is called the vertex. And the vertex always has to be the center. Otherwise, you can flip-flop those two outside ones. Okay. So just make sure you understand that. All right. Next thing, we're going to learn how to measure angles with a protractor. We're going to do a pretty quick version of measuring a few just to make sure that you know how to measure angles. All right, so this goes on to tell you that there are more ways to name an angle. So the first thing they did is they named it as angle ABC, like I just showed you. Okay, if there's one single angle, meaning there's just one sitting here, then they could also put a number in it and call this angle 1. That is legal, okay? Or they can just call it angle B. But you can't do that on the last slide, because what happens if I said, oh, this is angle O?
Oh, then there's 2. There's 3.
There's 3, really, because there's this one, there's this one, and there's this one. And you'd be like, well, which angle is it? So you can only do this when there's just one angle sitting there. This one. Okay? All right, and then here's the word vertex, which is what I just went over with you. So let's look. How do we measure an angle? So we have our protractor. Notice that the side of the angle, there's always going to be like these little marks like there, and you have to line that up. So depending on which protractor you're using, they all are slightly different. But you notice where the vertex is? See, they have a little opening. On all protractors, they'll have a dot or an opening or some way to show you that that's where it's going to go. Okay? What would you say this angle is? What's its measure? 45? Are you sure? Are you sure it's not 135?
I'm sure.
How can you tell which set of numbers to use? Because there's 2 sets of numbers here. Eric?
Whichever number says it's side of the angle. So, like, it goes from 0 there, so it's like the start of the angle.
Oh, so you're looking at where it's 0 and counting up?
Yeah.
Okay. Other thoughts? That's one way to do it. Why, when I said, is this 135, some of you go, oh, wow. Here's Very good. That's a perfect explanation. That's an acute angle. Acute angles have to be less than 90, right? So there's no way you can use 135 because it's too big. Okay? All right, let's look at the next one. Oh, wait, we didn't put it. So this one would be 45 degrees. All right, let's look at the next one. What would the measure of this angle be? Tab. What? Yeah. One hand. Remember, more participation is good. Steven? Your hands up. 76? I don't think so. 105? Anybody else?
I think it's 104.
104? Okay, so we all agree, here's 90. It's larger than 90. So we all agree it has to be bigger than 90. Okay, so then I have to look at this. Here would be exactly 105, and it looks like it is just barely shy of that. Does that make sense? So probably 104. However, if you said 105, that would have a what we call degree of error of maybe 1%, or 1 degree, not 1%, 1 degree. And that's okay. That's okay to have a small error. And so when we're going to look at this next little practice tool, it's going to be okay for you to have small errors. You just don't want an error of like 10 or 15 or 5, or you want to be close.
So if just count that wrong.
It probably will have wrong, yes. Okay, so what I want you to do, we're not going to do a big formal practice like I did with my other class. We're going to do some quick practice. All right, the next part says the measure of angle 1 is 3x minus 15. Find the value of x. So again, they're saying the measure of angle 1. They put in a 1 right here. That's just naming this angle. So it's a right. So it's a right angle. Right angles are how much? 90 degrees. How do you think we could set up an equation so we could find our missing value, Carter?
90 less than 3x.
Well, it doesn't say anything about less or greater. It just wants us to find it. What do you think, Jeremiah?
I added 15 to 90 and then
We write the equation.
yeah.
What would our equation be?
3x minus 15 equals.
Yeah. Does that make sense? 3x minus 15 equals 90 degrees. Because it says that angle 1 is this. We know that angle 1 is 90. Okay? Alright, and then this is so easy for us to solve, right? So this is why I told you it was still easy. You're good at this. So good. Okay, whatever. 35? So, x is 35. Make sense? Good? Alright, let's try the next one. The measure of ABC is 55 degrees. Find the value of x. How would we set this one up? Listen. Yep. Because they're saying this whole thing is 55. So we just have 3x plus 40 equals 55.
It's 5.
Subtract our 40. We have 3x equals 15 and x is 5. Okay. Now, not all of them. Sometimes I've seen a couple on digits come up with negative values. Do you think you're going to see a lot of negative values?
No.
Why? Why not?
Because the angles can be negative.
Because angles can't be negative. So I didn't think it would show up at all. And then I was helping someone today, and we got a negative answer, which would be weird. But for some reason, digits did that. All right. I think if I did, I don't think we need to go over another one just like you. You feel like you have it? Let's see what else I have on here. Let's look at this one, and then I'll have you try 2 on your own just to make sure you're getting it. All right, the measure of CBA. So again, we have to think where it is CBA. There is CBA is 0.25x plus 99. Find the value of x. How would I set this one up? Samantha. Very good. Equals 180. 300 something.
Three
Oh,
hundred
sorry,
twenty-four.
half turn. Okay, 324. 324. Okay. All right. You go ahead and work the last two on the last slide.
These
Just
two
make sure you
lines.
do it completely on your own, and then we will be done. The newer stuff later. All right.
I don't want to do it now.
Okay. Check these two out. Anything that you did not understand or need help you with? You're getting them right.
Nope, got him right.
Set of your equations okay?
Rebellious.
Anybody have questions? All right. Very good. Then you guys have some time to work. If you need to check in with me, feel free to come see me.